Justin, how the heck are you? Good to see you.
How you doing, sir? We got another beautiful sunny day here, thank God.
Time to get some work done. Justin from Elevation Homes. Can you give me a quick update on all the stuff that you're working? I know angling is almost done. You were telling me earlier in Waterford area. You've got, I think you got two or three homes on the go right now that are up for sale. Can you give us a little update on all those, please?
Yeah, so it's these projects we've been working on for the better part of 4 or 5 months now, 6 months in fact. We're They're starting to wrap up, and they're starting to turn into houses and into homes, I should say, rather than construction projects. But we've got 3 or 4 properties on the go right now that are investment for sale and rehabilitations and things like that. A couple new things, new builds. So I mean, let's just start off quick. I'll give you a quick update. So our one house, which is a flip house, so existing house that we've rehabbed and renovated at 417 Oak Hill Drive and that's in Brantford. It's actually in Brant County, but it's just outside Brantford. That one is currently up, completely done, and ready to show. That one is being done with SB Real Estate in up in Brantford. There's an open house there actually this weekend if anybody's interested. And I mean, if even if you're interested in seeing some of our work and you don't care about the house, uh, it's a good opportunity to go up if you're thinking about renovating or doing something to your house. That's a good spot to go and kind of see what we've done. We've got lots of before and after pictures. The realtors there are more than knowledgeable. I've blabbed to them long enough about what we did to the house, so they know what's going on. We've got 46 Angling Road here in Waterford, which is right near me actually, and it is man. I mean, I always knew this one was going to be nice, but I mean, this one is really coming together good. So the exterior is going on to it, and then we're doing this kind of tuxedo um, black and white siding deal, and man, is it ever sharp! It like from the road you can't miss it. You will not be able to drive down Angling Road ever again and not notice this place. So and that one again, we're doing finishes inside right now. Exterior's going on, but that's Stockdale Realty that holds that one. But you're more than welcome to DM us on Instagram, Elevation Home Design, and we can. I mean, I'll take you through it. It doesn't matter. And then the other really cool little craftsman bungalow that we're working on behind Lime Ridge Mall in Hamilton on Ranchdale Boulevard. That thing's a beauty too. I mean, if you're looking for something, if you're downsizing or a starter home with a couple of extras, that place is. And we've redesigned it around being like a traditional craftsman. So it's the sage greens, ivories, burgundies. That old school, you know, mid 1900s craftsman setup. And it really actually turned out well based on the shape of the house. And that one's got a pool, it's got a nanny suite in the basement, and same thing. We're doing finishes there too.
Holy heck, you guys are busier than ever. Two things I noticed this week. One I want to ask you, get your thoughts on. First one was early in the week, I read an article that the housing market is starting to move again. Even though the interest rates are up a little bit, it's showing that there's folks are out there buying again. Are you seeing
Yeah,
this?
no, absolutely, and I'll tell you why. It's so there's a mentality out there right now that's almost like, okay, the rates have like are highish, but they've stabilized. But a lot of people are actually thinking like, okay, maybe this is the low for the year, and it very well could be the low. I mean, if you're planning on moving this year, you might want to get into now versus September. Again, it's super unknown, but I mean, a lot of people are, and some of the experts are kind of being like, no, this is our 2023 low, so good luck in September, right?
Wow.
If you are thinking about a move or whatever, this might be your actual new normal. And then we could possibly see some ups and downs later in the year. So it's kind of like not only is it spring, and that's typically a good market anyways, but it is actually, if you kind of put the fact that these rates are a little bit higher, which in my opinion they're they're not, they're higher than they used to be, but they're normal in my opinion, right? So if you take these normal rates that we're currently having and go out and look for your place, I think this is definitely the best time of year you're going to get it throughout the 2023 year anyway.
Good, good. The other thing with springtime and folks looking at selling or upgrading, can you give some advice on things you can do to upgrade that you probably didn't think you could do in your home currently, just to fix it up to make it more sellable on the market? You raise that revenue, right? What do you see? What are some of the small things that people should be doing?
Well, I mean, everybody's probably heard a similar story when it comes to this, and actually, because we do on the other side of our business, because we do, these flips and rehabs and things like that as a business, to aid that size of that side of the business, and improve neighborhoods and that sort of thing. Um, so we actually on our customer work, we focus heavily on the ROI of whatever you're doing. So I often don't, I don't let people go down the wrong road and spend money on stuff that they're not going to see a return on when they sell. Because I mean, you know, it, we're all going to sell eventually. We're all going to move. I mean, these some of these houses, maybe some of these houses will be that's it. But I mean, the way we work nowadays, I mean, we're moving around. Every 4 or 5 years, somebody's looking at something new, right?
Yeah.
And that's great for real estate and agents and things like that. But as far as us, the homeowners, and me myself personally, anything I'm doing to my house, I'm always thinking, okay, if I'm spending $2, I need to get back four, right? Or I get
Yeah.
back 350, or however it may be. So I mean, everybody's kind of heard the kitchens and baths thing. That's probably never going to change. High ticket
Okay.
items. Somebody doesn't necessarily want to be moving into a house and be touching any of that kind of stuff because they're huge undertakings. So if you think you might be selling in a couple of years, my advice is, you take the brunt of the renovation so that other people don't have to, and you will be rewarded for it once it's all said and done. But paint is the cheapest one, and that's kind of like everybody who's anybody who ever told somebody what you got to do to sell a house. It's like, get these walls sorted out, right? But so a coat of paint, whether it's yourself or a painter, I mean, you're into a couple $1,000, $3,000, $4,000 max if you hire somebody, and get the main spaces of your room painted out. If not anything for color, but for cleanliness, so that it looks cleaner than it was, right? And then obviously kitchens and baths fall after that.
I was always told decks. Is that
They
true? Add a
decks are a
deck.
big seller. It's sorry, um, decks are a big deal for the outdoor buyer. Right? So
Okay.
I mean, there's lots of us out there. I mean, me and you were just chatting off air. I mean, like, if it doesn't have, if I'm looking at a house, I'm looking at the outdoor space first. I mean, I don't give a damn what's going on the inside because I can change that, right? But the outdoor environment, uh, what your outdoor space is, whether it's big, small, you've got privacy, not privacy, or you're trying to create something. But I mean, this is something for those outdoor people. This is a big part of their whole, mental existence, and their what they're perceiving to be their new environment. If they're not getting their outdoor space, there's no chance of them buying the place, right? So the decks and the outdoor spaces are increasingly becoming, so you're absolutely right. um, in some cases, they'll override a few things. They'll override a powder room. They'll override maybe a bathroom that's like usable. But you give somebody a crazy outdoor space that's, an outdoor living room, decks that are in good shape, some kind of, you know, little vestibule of space that's tucked into the corner of the backyard where they can. And again, these things don't have to be big. I mean, they can be little he sheds, she sheds, like little corners of your backyard that don't involve the main space where people can like sit and chill out, right?
You see a lot, and you got me thinking now because you see a lot of these homes now that have in the backyard they'll build like a little
Yeah,
man cave,
yeah,
right? like off
Yeah.
the house. Is that a new fad? Like I don't like it used to be garages, right? You turn your garage into it, but now you're seeing like freestanding buildings in the backyard with TVs in
Oh
them,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's
and we do, and honestly, to be honest with you, this this is actually what started, you know, uh, they weren't she sheds and he sheds back then, or man caves or whatever it may be. I mean, but when I started in this in my teens, I mean, I started in landscape and pools, and we did, but I was kind of in charge of the pool cabanas and the outdoor buildings, and those have now evolved into, like, yeah, people are making them seasonal and sometimes like full seasonal.
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, the garage conversions are cool, but I mean, it's not really necessary. We're not really looking for 4,000 square feet of space. A lot of people just need. I mean, the yoga studios are big time. I mean, like, if that's because, again, this, and it all goes back to, a lot of people are super conscious about their home environment and what it does for the brain, and
right.
and that will affect everything that's going to go as soon as you get in your car and get outside your house. I mean, so, and we've even leaned into this almost idea of, building your mental health out of your living environment, making the spaces, aesthetically pleasing, things that are going to keep you calm, things that are going to keep you functional, because all those things go into your life, and how you work outside of the home. I mean, if you're organized here, chances are outside you're going to be, at work you're going to be. If you're pretty calm here, you're not going to go to work as a lunatic, and you know and start yelling at all your coworkers and all this kind of thing. So we've actually really, so when I interview somebody to work on a job, uh, we kind of go into a bit of that. I'm like, I try to see what kind of personality they are, and then we actually start building spaces around that. There's a lot to it, and outdoor spaces. Getting back to the yoga studio thing, if that's your thing, if that's what keeps you calm, then yeah, I mean, that's a crazy good investment, and they're not a lot of money.
I was just going to say that this is our next show. You know this, right? Because now I'm like my brain's going.
Oh yeah, no,
I think too because it's a sound
yeah,
investment, right? Because the next person that purchases your home sees there's already a mini yoga studio or something else that they can convert to
yeah,
what they want and make it
right.
their own. And it's I it's kind of neat the way that sort of evolved. I think probably the pandemic had
Oh,
something to do with that as well. So, and you guys can build these, like you said, they're probably within a lot more people's budgets than they
yeah.
realized. Instead of doing this massive renovation in the house, pour this concrete pad, put this up. Yeah, let's talk about that because I imagine you've seen some pretty cool
Oh
ideas in
yeah,
your
no, yeah,
travels
we've
that
we've done some crazy stuff. Art studios, yoga, fit rooms, mini workshops. Because again, not everybody's like needing, a full set of Bob Vila toolkit. You know, and those mini workshops are handy. The best thing about these things is that if they're under 108 square feet, which is generally the sizing we're dealing with, they're non-permitted. So,
oh, hear that, folks? Did you
oh
hear
yeah, so
that? Did you hear? Repeat that. I don't think everybody heard that
and
one.
put it up the next day, because the yeah if and again, and when we build these little things, I mean, we build them like a little house. I mean, it's not like we really change our techniques because it's not permitted. But yeah, you wouldn't believe, in 2 weeks, and then you've all of a sudden, 2 weeks we pop these things in, and depending on what they are. I mean, I've done graphic design studios, we've done podcast studios, like what we're talking about right now. I mean, if you're
Yeah,
running any kind of social media podcast, I mean, anything that you do that you kind of need to be not in your kitchen. I mean,
yeah,
you're a cook, I suppose, but those types of things. We've done the sound booths, like in the back, like
that's cool.
residential, places in West Branch, Simcoe, like all the density places, and yet we have these 10 by 12 sheds, and it's like it's another world. And when you go back into your house, you feel like you've almost like been somewhere.
Yeah, or yeah, if you use it for a workspace, you're
Yeah.
leaving work,
Oh,
right? Going back home, which is kind of
it's
nice too.
insane. And there's a and I'm sure you know this. I mean, the work from home thing is great. I mean, I'm not, I personally, the work from home thing uh, would never work for me. Uh, I need to
No.
not work from home because I need the
Yep.
disconnection. Some people it works really well because they have a separate office and it's segregated. But if you're one of those people that needs to work from home but can't work from home, then yeah, these things are great. They're like they can be as little as eight, nine, $10,000.
Yeah, let's talk about that next week. You've got to get to work, so do I. Justin from Elevation Homes. Can you give us one more time where that open house is
So
this
that one's
weekend?
at 417 Oak Hill Drive in Brantford. And again, the house is very standout. It's really bold. You cannot miss it.
Do you have a phone number that people can
Sure.
reach you at?
Yeah, it's my own personal is 905-630-9137. And again, if I don't pick that up right away, just send a text because I know we're probably doing something.
Cool. All right, my friend. Have a great day. It's great seeing you and chatting, and this is a good conversation. Take care.